welcome to the podcast. I'm Phil.
I'm Colin.
I'm Stephen.
We're a new podcast, as you've seen. We've got a few episodes out and we're constantly looking at ways to improve our podcast. This week, one of us has celebrated a big birthday, and in line with improving the podcast, we thought of a way we could really improve it.
So, I got you a bit of a present, but times are hard. So you got last night's kebab wrapper and plasters for the wrapping paper.
Yeah.
But
All right.
But this will improve the podcast.
it definitely will improve the podcast.
So can I open this?
Yeah, please do.
All right. I wasn't expecting this. Rapping's still better than mine. I can't rap. I think I know what this might be.
Yeah.
Just going.
I do think I know what. Yeah.
And I will say,
shit jokes.
I didn't have time to do any rapping, so I bought one as well. Both of us separately thought about it without contacting each other, and
Right.
so,
Not that we're saying your jokes are bad.
but they were.
Yeah.
Thanks very much, guys. Yeah. So
So it was the big 5-0.
it was, yeah. And I was scary. Obviously, 50 is a big milestone. But I went with work, so I'd go for a few drinks on a night after work on the Friday. And little did I know, staying in a hotel, that they decided that I was going to get absolutely trolleyed. So started off in a few pints, a few shots. I thought I'm okay. Then a few more, and then playing darts without my glasses, and I couldn't see the dartboard, and they thought that was funny. So I'm throwing darts in the fireplace and things and that, and just really, really daft. But then, when you get outside of a pub, what happens to you? The air hits you. You whoa. That's what I took a tumble.
So a good time was had then.
It was a good time, yeah.
Yeah,
What I
great.
can remember, really good time.
That's good to hear. But we will improve the jokes Stephen has on the podcast over time. You know, I don't know.
I've read some of them
Yeah,
in that
I was going
book.
to say I don't know whether they're any good in the book, but we'll work on it. So, thought for this edition of the podcast, we will mention films we like, television shows, and things like that. So, what type of films do you like?
Well, sci-fi, Star Wars,
I was going to say,
Classics.
I'm a Star Wars nerd.
classics.
So, there's another thing that we've learned on the podcast. A few episodes ago, we found out that all three of us, our other halves, are hairdressers now. We're all Star Wars fans. I would actually officially consider myself to be a Star Wars geek. There's nothing I haven't seen.
Have you cut Chewbacca's hair?
Actually, so right.
Here we go.
So this is a good little thing. This right, terrible joke, obviously, but one of my clients, she knows the person who made the Chewbacca suit for the new films, and I actually have hair from the Chewbacca suit in the new films. So. Although I haven't cut Chewbacca's hair, I've actually got some of the suits, the hair, and obviously, you know, it's one of those things. Can you prove that it's the suit of Chewbacca?
Yeah,
you know, I can't, but it actually
Part
is.
of a wig or something.
Yeah. I have the Millennium Falcon signed by Peter Mayhew. I've got a picture of that. I've actually met David Prowse. Met him.
Was he your father?
He was not my father.
Did the Green Cross Code?
Sadly, it was in his later years, and he was.
Was he tall?
He was on a mobility scooter because he was so old. He is really tall.
He was really tall.
Yeah.
Is he like 6 foot?
They just didn't like his voice, did they?
No.
They
West
done all the
Country.
parts.
He was
Wasn't it Earl
West
Jones
Country.
who did his voice? Something like that?
Yeah. So Star Wars, as a kid, it was one of the first films I've seen, just absolutely amazing. Prequel trilogy. What were your thoughts on the prequel trilogy?
I enjoyed Return of the Jedi.
Oh, that's the original trilogy. The prequel trilogy. The
is that 1, 2, and 3?
1, 2, and 3.
1, 2,
Yeah.
and 3. I were amazed with 1 because it was like next level compared to
the first Star Wars. That was
the CGI and everything.
CGI and
everything
everything
else into the past.
Watching them back in later years, it's like all the Star Wars. They're full of that many faults and errors, and you think, why did they do that? And
My personal opinion, when they first come out, I was amazed with them, the episode 1, 2 and 3, and then I kind of stuck back and went, well, they're not as good as they should have been. But I have recently rewatched them, and bar the second one, which is Attack of the Clones, they are okay.
Yeah.
They're alright. They're not as good. They're not as good.
I would put Attack of the Clones near the bottom.
Yeah, that'd be the bottom one. But yeah,
Do you know, because it wasn't. My personal view is because it wasn't so much in space. It was like down on a planet, and it was like daylight.
The love story just didn't quite work because when Anakin first met Padme, he was about was he 9, 10, and she's like 19, 20 and stuff. So I don't know, it just didn't quite work. But yeah, love Star Wars. Watched all the series on Disney Plus. So.
The mad thing about Star Wars as well is the locations that they've gone to. I mean, Tunisia, it was filmed, for the Tatooine.
My brother-in-law's just been to that.
Yeah.
The set of it's Uncle Owen's farm.
Can you fly a drone around there?
I'm not sure in Tunisia.
It's just desert. It's just middle of desert, though, isn't it?
And I think it was The Last Jedi with Mark Hamill, and that was off the coast of Southern Ireland, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The Skellig Islands.
Yeah.
And thought locations for them amazing to pick.
Yeah, a lot of it's filmed over here. It's obviously the sets is it Leavesdale Studios, is it? Down there. Pinewood was the original ones. But yeah, a lot of it's filmed over here. It's amazing how many films are done locally and stuff. Harry Potter used Liverpool quite a bit.
Yeah.
Although I think I put it in not my last drone video, the one before, when I was just flying over the Everton Stadium and I turned round. I zoomed in on the bridge that was outside the Titanic Hotel. That's where Captain America was filmed, where he flips the taxi. Yeah. Fast and the Furious, whatever one, is about 7 or 8. They used the Birkenhead Tunnel.
Another good film I remember was 51st Date.
Oh, that's terrible. That's terrible.
I love
Never
that film. I
seen
thought it was good. Samuel L. Jackson.
No,
It was
I'm
all
a bit
around
of a Harry Potter nerd as well.
Yeah, I like Harry Potter. Yeah. But the problem with the 51st Date is if you know Liverpool as well as, we do and stuff, you see the car chase and they're driving along Castle Street and then they do a left turn and then they're on the Dock Road, and it was just like, no, there's 6 extra traffic lights through there. You're not going to do that, and you'd be in a jam there and stuff. The acting was good, and some of the story was okay, but yeah, I remember it being a film I liked at the time, but
there's a lot of that happens. Do you ever see that? I can't remember the name of the series. There was one on Netflix where they used. I know you've droned it. That dream sculpture.
Oh, in St Helens.
In St Helens, and they used that.
Right.
And there was I remember reading a lot of complaints at the time that they were showing people leaving that, like going down the road a little bit, and they was in Blackpool or something like that.
Yeah.
And people were saying, well, it's nowhere near.
Yeah.
There was a TV program I watched recently. I think it was really good drama called Until You Kill Me. I think it was. It was set in the 60s and 70s about a serial killer, true story serial killer, and this girl got with this serial killer, and he lived in Skelmersdale. His parents lived in Skelmersdale, and they visited Skelmersdale within one scene, and it is the least looking Skelmersdale location I've ever seen. It's like, if you're going to do your research, at least look at that.
Are you going to be nice or bad to Skelmersdale saying that then, are you?
I live in Skelmersdale, so so
all I know about Skelmersdale is there's about 500 roundabouts.
It is indeed, but traffic flows better. No traffic lights, So, anything else you like film-wise? What about Bond? You like Bond films?
I love all the Bond films, yeah.
Bit mixed. I quite like the Daniel Craig ones. I thought was good.
And Pierce Brosnan was good as well, I thought.
Can't say I've ever seen one.
Wales not enough and stuff like that.
Not keen on the older ones.
So
that was the 90s to early 2000, the 90s, that was Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah. So how do you think Bond works, right? Because obviously, spoilers, if you don't want to know, if you haven't seen the last Bond film, switch the podcast off now. I don't want to hold my hand up again, then put it back on. The final Bond film,
No Time to
Die. Daniel Craig.
Found Time to Die.
Yes, exactly. So how do you think Bond works? Do you think... So I have it in my head that James Bond we're just watching the same character just on different missions. That's how I see it. Sean Connery, Roger Moore, they're the same Bond, they're just on different missions. But obviously now James Bond died at the end of No Time to Die. Do you count that as in the same sort of timeline, or do you just take it as its own separate thing?
They'll bring another Bond out, another 007.
Oh no,
it's
it's got to be 100%.
It's just a number, isn't it? So it's just going to be...
that last
the
one,
person.
there was a different 007.
Yeah,
wasn't there?
Lashana Lynch. She become 007 and she had the line, do you think they would retire the number? You know, she said that to him. She was very good in, did you watch The Day of the Jackal?
Yes.
Yeah, that was really good. Really enjoyed that. And I'm not a huge Eddie Redmayne fan because I think he's a bit of like an awkward actor, but he fitted that part really well. But she was fantastic in it.
There's something that he looks a bit psychotic in real life.
Yeah, he does.
I mean, you look at the way, as you say, Harry Potter nerd, and the way he played the character in Fantastic Beasts, and then you look at the way he played the hitman in The Day of the Jackal. It's the same awkwardness. He has that awkward acting where he's a bit, you know, not bumbling, but struggles to speak confidently and things like that. And I think it's just his way of acting.
It's making him inconspicuous, isn't it? You know what I mean? So he doesn't draw attention to himself.
Yeah.
So you're not going to think, hang on, profile, it's got to be him.
Yeah, I thought Day of the Jackal standout television for the last 12 months for me, maybe.
Yeah.
Little bit disappointed.
Bit far-fetched though as well.
Well, it's the story, isn't it? The story. I think I was disappointed it was going to have a second series. I thought it was going to be done in a limited series.
I'm glad there's a second series actually, because you want to see more, don't you? You want to see how he adapts and to go crazy going from one thing with a leg and different things. And
yeah, I get that in some ways, but I think some things are better just done in a short period of time.
One then left.
Yeah, like have you ever watched Ted Lasso?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. 3 series and done. I mean, there's rumours of a 4th series, but short space of time done. I feel, for me...
Yeah, but are you not left thinking they could have carried that on more?
Yeah, of course.
I get what you mean. A lot of things are overdone.
I mean, if they do a follow-up series, I don't think it could be called Ted Lasso. It'd have to be called Roy Kent.
It's like Game of Thrones. It started off really good, and by the end, it had run its time.
Exactly.
And ended up like really poor ending, didn't it?
Yeah. I've never watched Game of Thrones.
No, I've not seen Game of Thrones.
All right, well, you two don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Well, basically, there was, I don't know how many seasons. 6?
7.
6? Was it 7?
7, I think.
I was going to say but 6 or 8, but never mind.
Yeah.
We'll go for 7. And they hurried the last season with like down from say 10 episodes to 6, and they jammed so much in the last 6 episodes it just ruined it.
Well, one of the issues was the writer. Is it George R.R. Martin? Is he the guy who writes the books?
I'm not a Game of Thrones geek.
He hadn't actually finished the stories. He had, the books went up to something like the 5th series, and then the 6th series. I might be wrong in this. If I am, comment below. But I think the 6th series and 7th series were made up by the TV writers rather than the actual original storyteller.
Possibly, and that's where it went. But it's like if you read the Star Wars books.
Yeah.
They've got twice as much detail as the film, and you think, why did they miss a lot of that out?
Well, this is one of the things why television's done so well recently, because, I mean, the Harry Potter franchise is now being made into a TV series where they'll fill 12-hour-long episodes, the book into 12-hour-long episodes, where when you release the film, you've got to cram it all into, it's like 2.5 hours. Now, I remember, I'm not a big reader, but when Harry Potter's final book came out, I wanted to read it because I didn't want the ending spoiled because I enjoyed the films that much. And when I picked up the book, I couldn't understand half it because a lot of the characters had either been very small characters in the films and not really given names and things, but they had bigger parts in the books. So it was quite hard to follow because they cut so much out. So with the limited TV series like Day of the Jackal or your Harry Potter series.
I must admit, I got the last Harry Potter book and went straight to the end to see who died.
Right. I thought they were going to bring Dumbledore back. I didn't think he was like dead.
If they made a modern version that was in Skelmers, that would be called Harry Potter. That's not in here. I don't think.
I actually so
Start reading.
one of my clients, she's an author.
You know what the other thing that was mentioned? We forgot the gaffer tape.
Yeah. One of my clients, she's an author, and I used to have that joke about she'd write a book. I said, I've got a book. I said, it's called Hairy Pothead. I said, it's about a guy who used to smoke copious amounts of drugs and think he was a wizard. And she went, you'll get sued for that, Phil. So what are the types of films do you like?
Probably another one, Rambo from the 80s, Top Gun, those kind of films. So,
Yeah.
What did you think of the second Top Gun?
I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah.
I watched it in the cinema and I actually had some tears come down my face as well watching it. You know, you went to see Iceman.
Yeah.
I thought that was sad.
Yeah.
How he was, because obviously when you're younger and you remember how they were in the original one, and you're thinking, obviously everyone's aged, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you just see that.
Sad what's happened to him, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, how about yourself?
Yeah, I like like military, war filmy sort of things. Like I say, Top Gun, enjoyed that.
So-
Fast and Furious, and I think they've gone too far. They've had too many.
It needs to end. It needs to
they've
end.
got
Too far-fetched now, aren't they?
they've got stupid now. At first it was just like
It was good at first.
driving cars. Now they're like
Cars in space.
cars in space, somersault.
The car jumped over
you
the
know.
moon.
Yeah. It's,
I'd jump out of a car at 90 mile an hour and land on the other one, and
Yeah.
just to escape before it flies over the
Yeah.
cliff. And
Yeah.
you kind of forget with that series, the first film was based on Point Break, which is quite a serious film. Point Break, if you remember, the bank robbing. They were robbing trucks of DVDs or something.
Patrick Swayze, wasn't it?
Yeah. But it was quite a serious tone to the first Fast and the Furious, and then it's just they become superheroes now, haven't they? You know, they jump out of cars, roll along the floor, and then get up, and then they're all right. You know.
I quite like documentary films as well, true story type things.
Yeah.
Like I don't like Queen the band, but really enjoyed the film.
Yeah. I had a bit of a problem with it. You know.
Why did you cut his hair?
No, never cut his hair. It glossed over too much, you know. Have you seen, is it Sacha Baron Cohen? I always pronounce his name wrong, the guy who plays
Sacha Baron Cohen,
yeah.
He was going to do a version of the film. I seen an interview with him and he was talking about Freddie's lifestyle. Freddie had these like lavish drug parties where he'd have small people with trays on the heads walking around with drugs on and all this kind of stuff. And the band members that are still surviving of Queen didn't want to show Freddie in a bad light.
Yeah.
But in terms of that, you're not actually showing the true story. You know, you edited it out just to show good bits. Where I'm all for, I don't know if any of you have seen the Robbie Williams one, Better Man.
Not yet.
It goes warts and all. It doesn't paint him in a good light at all. It just shows what he allegedly has gone through.
Yeah.
So while it was good seeing the music of Queen and things like that, it just felt like a bit contrived for me.
Yeah, I don't know because I don't particularly like Queen or anything. I just thought it was a good film.
Did you watch Rocket Man?
No.
Yeah, Elton John won that.
Same thing. Really,
Yeah.
I'm not keen on Elton John, so it didn't interest me. It was only because my wife wanted to watch the Queen one that I sat and watched it.
Funnily enough, Rocket Man, my wife watched that while I was out to my birthday bash, like getting drunk, so she watched that and said it was good. She enjoyed
That's
it.
not
2.5
bad.
hours long or something.
Yeah, it goes a little bit more into the life of Elton John than the Queen one does. And the other thing, the lad who plays Elton John, Taron Egerton, he actually sings the songs himself.
Yeah.
Where in Queen,
I watched his new film last night actually.
Carry On.
Carry On.
Yeah. When I first heard about it, I thought it was going to be about the Carry On films.
Yeah.
You know, what did you think of it?
It was okay. It was a bit. You kind of knew what was going to happen at the end.
Trying to be Die Hard. It was a bit trying to be Die Hard for me. I
Yeah.
thought it was okay.
Yeah, I don't think that. I think the last bit was a bit silly. Like a lot of it was silly, where everyone seemed to be like strolling around this high security airport.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
Like one point he was walking around with a supposedly member of the public tag along, and not one person. I was like, who's that walking along with?
Yeah,
you?
and it did seem like he was going through passport control a lot as well,
Yeah.
didn't it? Like the main villain in it.
And pop in the duty free shop and steal some alcohol just by keying a number
Yeah,
and
it was,
keypad.
I mean, don't get me wrong, there will be a sequel because it's one of Netflix's most watched films
Yeah, it's a
ever.
good film, I enjoyed it.
I like him as an actor. I think he's quite good. The Kingsman films are really good. Have you seen them?
I've seen some of them. I've not seen them all. I've seen the ones he's in. Some he's not in, isn't there?
The other one's a prequel.
Yeah.
They've gone down the prequel route, and then there was a awful film beginning of last year called Argyle that sort
Is that
of
John
linked into
Cena?
it. He was in it a little bit, and Henry Cavill was in it, and it had Bryce Dallas Howard.
Right.
But it's a bit far-fetched. I like, in terms of other types of films, I like true stories. Have you ever heard the film Pride?
Nope.
Nope.
Not right. So Pride's a true story set in the 80s, and it's about a bunch of gay people who decide to collect money for the strike of miners, because LGSM they're called. They decide that for some reason the police aren't picking on them for once, which was quite prevalent in the 80s. They decide to collect a load of money, but a load of the miners, because they were gay, and it was very early 80s, they didn't want to be associated with gay people because they were considered like perverts and things like that and stuff. And they ring up this little village in Wales.
Did they get shafted? In the mine shaft.
I got it straight away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we'll get that one edited out. They basically ring this little Wales village, and this person rings up and doesn't understand what LGSM stands for, and they invite them down, and then it's like the clash of cultures that come together. It's a really, really good film, and I did get really emotional towards the end, because at the very end, because this bunch of gay people, and it was literally, I think there's about like 6 of them who collected money, but they collected a lot of money and helped the miners. The miners voted in the union to get Labour to put gay rights into the manifesto for the first time ever, and that is how gay rights became a thing. Right. It's a really moving movie, and there's really good 80s music in it. I'm a big fan of 80s music. Really good film. I'd advise you to watch that at some point.
Speaking of the 80s and stuff, and 90s, you ever been on the TV? Any of you been on the TV before?
I'm trying to think. I've spotted myself on the TV in the crowd.
Or a kind of football match.
Match.
Oh, that doesn't count. That doesn't count.
You've had your footage.
I've had footage on the.
No, but yourself being on.
No.
Yourself?
Yeah. Back in
Most Wanted?
the 90s.
Where's Jokes Told?
Yeah. It was a programme called Hitman and Her. I used to be on late at night, and it was like...
Oh, my wife's been on that. Oh,
Michaela Strachan.
yeah, she
and
was
it was,
filmed in the nightclub.
What was his Pete Waterman?
Pete Waterman.
Yeah. And there was like a nightclub in Liverpool called Buzz. It's gone now. It's on Skellorn Street. And you're playing all music there, and you have dancers there. I'm just dancing away. I think it was Baker Street, something like that. Or,
Yeah,
and the cameras are there. The cameras just run me for like about 15, 20 seconds. And I thought, oh, I'm on the telly, I'm on the telly.
Yeah, my wife was on the Manchester one when they done it there one week. Yeah.
I got a few friends who were in the Chorley one at Park Hall. Do you remember that? There was the guy the black guy who used to dance with the white wig on his head and stuff. Yeah. I mean that was a great show back in the day.
My dad was on TV. He was on the news once. Yeah. My dad was a shepherd.
Right.
And a dog had killed I don't know how many sheep one night.
Yeah.
And they basically interviewed him about that.
Right.
Did
they get hooked?
Eh?
Did they get hooked?
You can see our faces when it tells the joke every single time. We'll try and change the camera angles so it just starts on Stephen. No, I don't think I've been on telly. I've been at football matches where you're in the crowd and stuff, but that doesn't really count. I'm trying to think I've ever been.
I'm trying to think where else I've been in the crowd. Oh, The Voice.
Right.
We went and watched The Voice being filmed.
Yeah.
And I had the bright idea. I I was doing a bit of t-shirt printing at the time, so I'd made a glow-in-the-dark guitar on the front of a t-shirt. So you can see the episode I'm on, all you can see is the dark crowd and this big green guitar showing up. That's me.
My daughter number one, my eldest daughter, she when she was living in Salford last year, she went in the crowd at The Voice, and they moved the young ones to a certain section, and she got full shot screen on The Voice, but she was in America, so she couldn't
Someone
see
I
it.
worked with was actually a contestant on The Voice.
Yeah.
He got through the battle round where they sing against someone, and then I think he went out in the round after that.
Yeah. What do you think of reality TV? While we're on The Voice, subject of The Voice, what do you think of reality TV in general?
Some I like, some I don't.
Yeah.
What have we just watched? Celebrity Hunted. Or something.
Right.
I like that.
I do,
Yeah,
but
I like that.
it's obviously so far fixed and whatever that.
Well, funnily enough, I wanted to go on that, and I was going to try and apply.
Yeah.
With a guy
But they
from
must
work.
have, like, as far as I can figure it out, you must have to give them lists of people you're going to use or phone, because they can't monitor all
Yeah.
my friends to
Yeah.
know who I'd ring up
Yeah.
from a random phone.
Yeah, yeah.
And
But I
things
just
like
enjoy
that.
it. I mean, it's on again tonight, isn't it? So if this is going out,
I've never seen
Yeah.
it. Yeah, I've never seen it.
yeah, it's tonight at 9 o'clock, Channel 4.
all right, so
It's well worth it.
Free advertising for Channel 4.
Yeah.
yeah, if you watch it on demand, it's already been on. Because I know I could tell you one.
Yeah.
And the new one, the new Celebrity Hunted, it's a series out now. It's still going now, and there's a couple of episodes to go.
Who's in it?
Christine McGuinness, guy from
Yeah, no,
Blue.
I've seen the final.
Have you?
Yeah. We could do a real spoiler.
Don't you tell me. I want to watch this. I'm enjoying it.
I like Big Brother when that first come out, but I think the thing with reality TV now is that they know they're trying to be famous going on it now. The first
Yeah.
like 2 or 3 series of Big Brother, people just went on. It was like social experiment,
Yes, it was,
like
yeah.
our
Yeah.
podcast,
Yeah.
3 people
Yeah.
just coming together, isn't
Yeah.
it? And then by series like 3, people knew they were going to be famous coming out, and I remember like people waving their hands in the diary room to try and be more controversial, and just doing things. The Kinga incident with the bottle,
Yeah,
because you know it just
Yeah.
went too far. And now, like daughter number one, she loves Love Island. You know, again, not my
I've never
thing,
watched
but
it,
that's
never
like
watched
their
it.
generation. And then I was scrolling through one of the streaming channels the other day, and Rylan is presenting it's a different thing than Love Island, but it's like the same, but everyone's naked. And it's just like
Yeah.
trying to push it to that one step further
Yeah,
and
what boundary can you
further.
hit
And,
and that?
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, did any of you ever catch the Naked Game Show with Keith Chegwin all those years ago?
Vaguely
Yeah,
remember it.
and Cheggers was actually 100% naked
Oh,
on the
yeah,
show
being
and
naked
stuff,
on
and
the telly,
that. So
yeah.
it's all about just trying to push it, the envelope further and further. And that's one of the reasons why I didn't watch Game of Thrones, because it was just like overly violent and overly sexual, just to try and be that little bit controversial, you know. And got lots of people talking about it. Oh, you must watch this because this person gets their head chopped off, or you watch this and stuff like that. And it kind of like, I'm all right. I'm not against sex and violence in anything, but as long
Talking
as
of
it
that,
push
in
the
them films,
story.
Sean Bean is
Yes.
in. Why does he never last in a series? Every series I seem to watch,
Yeah.
he seems to die early.
Yeah.
That's the Game of Thrones. He died in
Well, series
season
of it I
1.
enjoyed
Yeah.
was Snowpiercer. Have you seen Snowpiercer?
Yeah,
He's
she's
still
that
going.
was
He's
great.
still alive in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I see the film. I've had it all done in one. The film, Chris Evans is in it, John Hurt, and yeah.
Was he the Elephant Man?
Yeah, I think he was,
Yeah.
yeah. So whatever you're watching is obviously taken off that story.
Yeah.
So yeah, whatever you've watched over 3 seasons
really
or
good,
whatever, I've watched it in 2 hours and done.
Right.
That's another one I think's beginning to go on too long.
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
It went to the only people alive in the world was on this train, and then
Yeah.
suddenly people are appearing from all over the place that actually
Yeah, New Eden and things.
yeah, we live there, and
Yeah.
then so these are on another. Then there was a second
Yeah.
train, and
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be an ice age, isn't it? So nobody could survive and
Yeah.
things like that. So how about the Marvel movies? What's your thoughts on
I've
them?
not really seen many of them. I'm not really...
I'm a bit hit and miss with it.
Yeah, I've seen everyone. I've seen all the TV series, but I think, what are they on now? Something like 28 films. I think the first 20 that lead up to Endgame were all pretty good. And then since Endgame happened, it's very hit and miss. But they seem to be getting their act together now again. And you got Robert Downey
I tend
Jr.
to watch some of them. Like I've watched the Spider-Man ones, so I've obviously watched the Avenger ones, but there'll be plenty I've not watched.
Yeah.
Iron Man, stuff like that. Iron Man was good.
Yeah, so I've watched Iron Man.
Yeah.
I've not
Yeah.
watched, is it Ant-Man? I've not watched that.
See, I'm a proper movie geek, a proper buff. I will just watch it all. You know, there's a film that's just come out. Mel Gibson directed. It's Flight Plan or something like that. I think it's called. It only came out this weekend. I've heard reviews and it says terrible. Because it's terrible, I want to watch it to see how terrible it is.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
Couple
Worst
of friends,
film you've ever seen then?
Oh, worst film. There was a film years ago, and it was starring Patrick Swayze and Wesley Snipes. It was called Tu Wong Fu, right? And I thought it's really good. It was my other half. She wanted to pick a film to watch in the cinema, and I was like, Patrick Swayze, Wesley Snipes, Tu Wong Fu, bit actiony, sounds like, you know, kung fu-y stuff. And the whole title of the film was Tu Wong Fu, Thank You for Effing Julie Newmar. And Patrick Swayze and Wesley Snipes were both drag queens in it. Now, could you imagine Wesley Snipes as a drag queen? At his peak, when he was the most muscular he was, it was absolutely awful. I'm not against drag films, you know, Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, amazing film. But this was just terribly acted. I remember Patrick Swayze being interviewed for it. He was like, yeah, it was really good to get in touch with my feminine side. Wesley Snipes was like, no, I didn't get in touch with my feminine side at all. It was just, it was goddamn awful. How about yourself?
I watched one called Airplane versus Volcano.
Oh, there's a sci-fi channel movie.
It could have been.
Yeah,
I don't know. I was bored one day and it was on the Fire Stick, so yeah, we'll try this. And they must have spent they spent less than we did on a set.
For the budget.
They're flying the plane and it's like vibrating, and someone gets up and you watch the whole plane like dashboard wobbling. Or someone knocked it and it moved. And all things like that. It was terrible.
But B movies like that can be good at the same time, can't they?
Yeah.
I mean, like there's that one. Is it Sharknado?
Yeah.
That loads loved and stuff. How about your list?
I think for me, I think it was Running Man.
Really?
Yeah, Arnold Schwarzenegger. I've watched a lot of Arnold Schwarzenegger movies and I thought they're good, but that one I just thought was too cheesy. And
They're remaking that.
are they?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're remaking
Saying
that.
that, it was about your favourite film of all time.
My favourite one
Yeah.
was Star Wars.
Which of the Star Wars films, out of interest?
Well, the original one, when you're young, you're thinking, wow, look at this, you know what I mean? But then Empire Strikes Back, enjoy it, but some of that was a bit dark at first, where he goes into the cave with things and that, and then going to Hoth to find Yoda. It's a bit dark in there when you're young, it's a bit scary. Yeah.
Dagobah, not Hoth.
Dagobah, yeah.
Don't see mine
Dagobah's
split,
yeah.
even though, say, I'm a Star Wars geek,
Yeah.
I've probably seen them more than the other. My two favourite films, it was Schwarzenegger that got me to Commando.
I love Commando.
I love Commando. And the other one is Armageddon.
I love Armageddon as well. Two great films. I mean,
I can't decide which one's my favourite.
They're not great films in terms of filmmaking, but they're just enjoyable to sit and watch and just switch off, aren't they?
Yeah.
Commando, I like when he's holding him over the cliff and he's like, I promised you I'd kill you last. Yes, you did.
Yeah.
I lied, and let's go.
No, but it's the way you did. I lied. Yeah. If you look at the top of the screen, you can actually see the piece of rope holding them up.
The word
Sully it is.
Sully.
Yeah.
And a worst bit in that film is they're in that Porsche. And
Yeah,
it
I know
rolls,
exactly what
and
you're going to say.
it's all smashed up.
Yeah.
2 scenes later, it's immaculate.
It's back again.
Yeah.
So
I bet when he goes shopping, he says, let's go shopping. He gets in the car,
All the
reverses
guns.
into the shopping cars, getting bazookas and rocket launches, this, and you're thinking, like,
now my favourite line of that whole movie is when they've just kidnapped his daughter. He runs back into the house and the guy sitting in the chair and he says, you know, you've got to cooperate with us, right? And he goes, wrong, and then just shoots her. I just love that moment. My favourite films, I always have to separate Star Wars away from favourite film lists because they're like on another level. But if you ask me Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back's the one. The other films, Pride is up there, I love that. Seven, I absolutely love that, and Fight Club.
Right.
I like dark thrillers, you know, we guessing what's going to happen and stuff. Have you seen Fight Club?
No,
Right.
no 7.
I think I've seen Fight Club, but it was a long time ago.
So Fight Club came out around the time of The Sixth Sense. Yeah, do you remember The Sixth Sense?
Yeah.
And everybody was, the big twist at the end, you know, you'll never guess it and stuff. Nobody ever talked about the twist in Fight Club. Now, are you ever going to watch Fight Club? Because I will tell you the ending, right? So,
If I've not watched it now, the chances are I never will.
okay, so in the film, Edward Norton's got a bit of depression, and he's struggling and stuff, and he meets Brad Pitt, Tyler Durden, and they end up having a fight outside this bar, and end up starting this fight club, and it ends up becoming this like political movement. And at the end of the film, it's Edward Norton's got a split personality. The Brad Pitt character didn't exist at all, and it goes back and it flashes back to the fights having outside the bar, and it's Edward Norton's just hitting himself and stuff, but it's just really cleverly done.
That's something in films that puts me right off when they start going back in years or something like that. Then they skip to the current time, then they go back in years. I'm gone. Could be a great film, and I'm like, no, can't be bothered.
If it's done well, it's good. If it's done really badly, it's
But going back as well, it's leading up to something, isn't it? So I don't want you to see the pretense of what's going to happen, heading towards something.
So
That's normally...
to wrap this up, we'll go about one more franchise. Are you Star Trek fans or not?
No.
Alright, so you don't dress up and you can't speak
I can't even do
Klingon.
it. I can't even do it.
I can do it.
Can't do
So
it.
I like Star Trek,
Yeah.
but I don't dress up. I just like watching what's on there and stuff. And
I've seen
they're
some of the
massive.
newer films and they've been alright, but not a clue. Know the history of it or...
The three newer ones with Chris Pine as Captain Kirk, they basically Star Wars'd Star Trek, didn't they? They put them into the more action sort of era and just changed it slightly. They're good films, you know, but Star Wars is up there for me, and then Star Trek.
Yeah.
So, right, should we end this up? So,
Yes.
thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
See you next
Yep,
time.
thanks for watching, guys.